A heartfelt but futile protest by people who know they can't change history. As US troops pulled out of northeast Syria last night, Kurds made it clear whom they blame. Not the American soldiers who fought alongside them to defeat the Islamic State. Not the American people, but the American president. By day, departing convoys swept past Turkish soldiers who've moved swiftly to control the main road running parallel 20 miles south of the border. In a hospital in Hasaka, a patient who says he's been burnt by white phosphorus bombs dropped by Turkish aircraft last week near the town of Aisa. He says 8 people were killed in the attack.
The back of my neck, down to the back of my knees, is all burnt. Children, women and soldiers were killed.
Chemical weapons experts say his injuries are consistent with burns from white phosphorus, which the Turks deny using. 15 or more patients in the hospital have similar burns, and the UN Organization for the Prevention of Chemical Weapons is assessing accounts of its use. President Erdogan, receiving a gift from loyal journalists, is going to meet President Putin tomorrow. Russia has replaced the US as the essential power with potential to mediate.
In order to achieve this goal, and we think it's the only way to regulate the situation, a dialogue is needed between the Kurds and Damascus, which we are prepared to encourage. Both sides have expressed interest in Russia helping them. Of course, a dialogue between Turkey and the Syrian Arab Republic is also necessary, and we're prepared to play a role here too by encouraging direct contact.
Syrian regime forces who've come in to support the Kurds were near Raqqa today. There's a tenuous ceasefire at present, but if the Turks start major attacks again as threatened, it's the Syrian regime forces who'll fight back, supported by Russian air power. They've even mounted their flag on the old US base. Oil fields near Deir ez-Zor, bombed by the Americans when they were held by the Islamic State. The US appears to have just realized that by abandoning the Kurdish-led SDF, they'd left the oil vulnerable to ISIS again. So they'd better keep a contingent there after all.
The purpose of those forces, working with the SDF, is to deny access to those oil fields by ISIS and others who may benefit from their revenues that could be earned.
As the Americans retreated through Kamishli, Kurdish onlookers pelted them with potatoes and insults. The shock of betrayal remains acute. The dangers of President Trump's decision to pull out US troops ever more apparent.